at 6 o'clock, so I guess I'll go ahead and call the Ward 3 meeting to order. I am joined by my fellow council member. If she would like to introduce herself, that'd be awesome.
I'm Sarah Bunch.
And then we have Chris Brown from the city, and hopefully he has all the information to give us, and me as well. I'm just residents. So, I mean, I guess I'll give a quick introduction. Obviously, anybody who's turned on the news knows that projects are costing more than they used to, and they're taking way longer than they used to from a myriad of reasons. One, staffing; two, supply chain. So that is affecting our projects, and I think people know that they are getting affected. Hopefully, at the end of the day, we'll kind of have a better idea of how that is affecting Ward 3 projects. I was sent a list of questions. We'll go through those, and then I'll open it up for project questions if people have them, and then general questions after that if people have those. Sarah, you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'll hand it over to Chris Brown. I believe I sent you a list. Obviously, top of the list is Zion. So, you know, that's hopefully where we start, and you can go down that list. So take it away, Chris. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So Zion Road, that project has been under construction for a while, and it certainly has been impacted by supply chain issues all during last year and even the prior year. We had issues with getting enough workers out there. The contractor had issues with that. Most recently, they do have more people out there. They have their biggest problem is getting concrete. They need about 50 to 60 cubic yards of concrete per day to be able to meet their production goals. They're getting about a third of that. So they're really struggling with trying to get the materials needed, and they're trying to pour curb and sidewalk and other things. But just to give you an update on what the schedule is, they are working toward trying to get the west end of Zion Road open back up to Old Missouri Road. So basically from the west end of the project to Old Missouri Road by the 1st of July. That's the goal. It may still be some gravel sections there right around Old Missouri Road, but we will have traffic flowing by the 1st of July, barring completely terrible weather like we've had over the past month. So we expect the weather to get a lot better here as we go into the summer months. So there is still a lot of work east of Old Missouri Road. There's a large sewer line that has to go in. It's very deep, so it will result in some additional road closures on the east end of the project. But they'll get that done as quickly as they can, and then we'll open the road back up. Once that sewer is in, the rest of the project is really just paving and overlaying on that east end. I don't have a schedule right now for when that's all going to go, because they really don't want to give a schedule until they see how much production they can get out of that sewer line. It's so deep right now, and the soil is so poor that the trench keeps caving off, and so they have to dig it all back out, and just really not making much progress there at the moment. But hopefully that will they'll get out of the very deepest area soon, and then that'll start moving forward quicker. But main thing I want everybody to see is that we do intend to get the west end of the job open back up the 1st of July, and so we'll at least have half of the project done. I know we've got and you guys may have seen this. We've got construction work on Old Missouri Road itself. That's a development, new apartment complex, and they've got a partial road closure there. And you know, we've heard from a lot of residents, you know, concerns about being able to get in and out of there. But hopefully that road closure will be opened back up within the next week or so. Probably still will be gravel, but it will be opened back up, and the signals will go away. So that's Zion Road. Did you want me to just go down the list that you had?
Yeah,
You had
it-
Applebee. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so on Zion, I mean, obviously, we're gonna keep the same company for the first section. Is that same company looking to do also the second section? And
Yeah, they are under contract to do all of it. And that they, I tell everyone their work is good. They just have struggled to meet production and get work done quickly, just because of staffing issues and other things. But the finished product, I think, is going to be really good, and we're happy with the work they do. We just wish they were a little more productive and a little quicker.
um,
Um,
I pull my hair out all the time. I'm a general
yeah,
contractor. It's just, why is this taking so long? And
right.
I I think, I'm biased. I think the product I deliver is good, but it always takes longer.
Yeah. And
Especially now, it's so hard to find people, and you got people that tell you they got a lot of experience, and then when you start, then you're like, oh, you don't
right.
actually know how to do this. And then you gotta let them go, and then you gotta find, new people. So I
Right. And
understand it.
and that's the issue for us is, if you do end up on a municipal project with all the bonding and everything that we have, if we do, a contractor walks off the job or we have to terminate them, it actually takes way longer in most cases,
Right.
to get that resolved. And so it would be sitting for a while if we choose to go that route. And I don't believe uh, that there's any reason at all, at least at the moment, why we would want to do that. I don't think that's the best course of action. So
Okay. Awesome.
it feels like, and then you go out there and look around, it still feels like there's a long way to go, and there is, but I think there will be some significant changes over the next month. So
Yeah, well, I mean, in construction prep work, you can just, I mean, it looks like you're doing nothing, 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 and then you're done.
right, right.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
the final paving goes in very quickly. So yeah, once they get to that, it moves quickly. So
okay, Sarah, you got anything on that item?
Um, Chris, you said we'd used this company before. I know a lot of our projects we get are bid by, companies we've used in the past, and that's one reason
mhm.
we continue to use them. We have a good track record with them. So is is this a company we've used a lot in the past, or just
Yeah, they actually did the boxwood drainage, which was kind of a little bit out of sight, out of mind, but that was in Ward 3 also. I believe they also did a couple of water and sewer projects, and really, I think, did better on those. They were a little smaller projects. This is a pretty large project for the size of company they are. So they were stretching a little bit, and then they had a bunch of other bids that they received. So they got a little overextended, and then again with COVID, couldn't keep couldn't keep people, couldn't get materials. So
okay?
I,
Okay.
again, the quality of construction, I think, if they choose the right project and they bid on another city project, I don't think it's a situation where we would say we can't, we don't want to hire this company again. We just have to be careful and make sure that they do have enough staff to cover it. So
Okay.
scope and scale of the project, I think, are important.
Okay. Good.
So,
Good to know.
yeah. So the next one that you sent me was the Appleby Road. Are you talking about the extension, the connection of Appleby, Plainview, that project, or is there some other?
The thing somebody posted just said Appleby Road Development, so I'm actually not 100% sure.
Okay. Well, I know there were some concerns. I think I saw recently with work by AT&T and developments like that. I think the gas company had a project that came through that area as well. So, and I did see some concerns raised about removing trees and things like that. But for those type of projects, we do have some permitting requirements if they're in our right of way. But typically, if they're in a utility easement, like there are utility easements behind many houses, and it's on the sides of houses. You guys both know that, you're in real estate, but a lot of people don't realize that they do have easements on their property, and utilities can come in really at any time and use those easements. They have the right to use those. If there are trees that are in the way and they have to remove those trees, then they have the ability to do that. And we don't really, I mean, there's nothing really that we can say that they can't do that. And typically we don't have a permitting process just in the easement areas. And when there is a large project like the gas company's got, it can be pretty disruptive, but it's a fact of the growing city, and they have to provide more capacity and replace their lines and maintain them. And so that's what we see. So I don't know if that answers the question that the person had, but I know I did see some concerns raised about that. So.
Okay, kind of off topic, how do people get in to this meeting? Which I guess it wouldn't be for you, it'd be media services. I've got two people who've asked to get in that I guess didn't know that they'd have to register, which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know that they had to register until they told me. Is there anybody?
So who is our media services host tonight?
That is me, and I look like I have some registrants. I'm going to go ahead and approve them right now.
Is that Virginia?
Yes, this is me.
Hi.
Hi. I guess we had a lot of registrants apply last minute or last second, because I just looked right before the meeting.
Okay.
I gotta admit, I started working on the Facebook event and PR for this a little too late, so they should.
Oh no, you're good. I should just double check 30 seconds after the meeting started, because that's normally when they get you.
Yeah.
The good news is it's being recorded, so people will be able to see it if they'd like. So
people should be joining soon.
Yeah, that's what's nice about getting the questions ahead of time. So
Chris, while we're waiting, one of the things that projects I see that is in the works, and we can kind of wait for some people to join here, but is the new improved exit off of Fulbright Expressway onto, is it Steel? No.
Shiloh, and then Steel is the north-south section.
And Steel there. So it's going to be the exit and a new, new turn at, I guess there's a bank there now. So all that's in the works. About how far out is that from completion?
Well, it's really close, actually. We are, because of the cost of the project, our crews are actually providing some of the paving kind of in between those two intersections, and we've been out there the last couple of days, and we'll be out there the rest of the week, and then early next week, or possibly by the end of this week, we'll have the paving done. As soon as that paving is complete, the striping is ready to go down. So final striping. Once the final striping is in place, they're going to turn the signals on. They'll flash for a few days. If all goes well, by mid-June, the 13th is our target date, but it may be a day or two after that, just depending on weather. So by mid-June, though, we should have that fully operational. And what's happening is at Shiloh and Steel, which is that kind of strange, odd intersection there, that will be converted to a simple T intersection with signalization. So the Shiloh section of that will basically be able to go straight through and not have that stop sign and all that. And then we're adding also a signal at the Shiloh and Fulbright interchange, and adding a right turn lane. So traffic coming from Gregg will have a dedicated right turn lane. So we'll have a lot more capacity there. which should resolve a lot of the backups at that location. So yeah, it's a relatively simple project, but I think it's going to have some big benefits for traffic flow in that area.
I think it will too. It's been a long time coming on that, because that's kind of everything just gets backed up there. Nobody can turn left. Nobody can, go through the intersection because there's other people coming and stuff. So
Right.
No,
So-
originally we were hoping to do a roundabout there, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we had a concept, and we actually had developed a concept. It went through initial round of review. We sent that to the state, RDOT, for permitting. They had a whole bunch of requirements to add lanes out on the main lanes of Fulbright Expressway, which really increased the cost of the project. I think it was about I don't remember now, is about $2.5 million, as compared to the project that we did, was estimated at about right around $1 million. Of course, the actual cost of the project is about $2.5 million. So the roundabout probably would have been 5 million or 6 million in today's dollars. So yeah, it was significantly more expensive. I think this is a project that it's going to be a good improvement, and it's going to work fine. That would have been a little bit more elegant, because it essentially would have placed the interchange at Steele and Shiloh. So it would have combined those two intersections into one. But it was just cost prohibitive to do it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
used to live in that subdivision, Sandpiper Northwood, and yeah, I just didn't turn left. Just if I needed to be like at Target, I just had to go all the way around.
Right.
It just wasn't safe. So I'm glad to, even though I don't live there anymore, I'm glad to see some improvements. Probably at the end of the meeting, we'll want to go over Zion, like a 3-minute
Sure.
recover of that, because we have 8 attendants. And if somebody can ask the Appleby when we go to questions, if they have a more specific, because we really weren't sure about that question. And then speaking of projects that have been kind of scaled back, I guess we can go ahead and go into Rolling Hills.
Okay.
See where we are on that.
Sure. Yeah, and I'll share my screen here. Let's see. Hopefully you can see a nice, pretty picture of the Rolling Hills and College intersection. Are you seeing that?
Mhm, yes.
Okay. So this is the concept for the Rolling Hills College, and then the connection with Appleby, and on north to Plainview, which you can't see on this picture because it's just a roundabout, but this will actually connect all the way up to Plainview Avenue, which is the backside of what now is Lewis Ford. So we'll basically have a parallel connection all the way through here. But this proposed roundabout will replace the little entrance drive into the Fiesta Square Shopping Center. We'll have sidewalks on all of this. So this intersection is something that we've talked about for many years. It's now something we're trying to work through, coordinate with the property owner. And that's really the stage we're at right now, is trying to get the right of way all sorted out. This is actually going to generate some redevelopment opportunities. So all of this property in this quadrant, the developer is looking at some options for redeveloping that, and creating some new spaces. So it's going to have some economic development benefits as well. The Rolling Hills intersection, we are making improvements just to the east of College, but then east of there, we do have concept and design. As we were going through all of the budgets and everything for our bond program, the Rolling Hills project was one that kind of fell below the line of what we could afford to do with our cost increases and all the escalations. We had to make some decisions about which projects were priorities, and the transportation committee reviewed that. It all is not lost, because that project is, it's designed, it's ready to go. It's something that, if we can get federal aid funding or other funding for some of these other projects, or if things moderate and we get better pricing than what we were estimating, then some of these other projects like Rolling Hills can come back and be constructed. So I think it's really more a matter of when rather than if, even if it's the next bond issue that's a few years down the road. So.
Hey, Chris, could, talking about Rolling Hills, could you also give us a little update? And I didn't ask for this in advance, so I don't expect you to have a visual or anything of the Seine intersection and what we talked about on Millsap, because
Sure.
that's all in the same part of Fayetteville, the
Right.
Fulbright Expressway, the Rolling Hills Plainview connection, and then the Millsap improvements.
Sure. Are you now seeing a different picture?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Millsap and College intersection. This is Millsap and College here. And then here to the upper right is the Seine Street connection that's under construction, will be completed this summer. We are adding a roundabout here at this intersection, and this is what we're calling Hemlock Avenue. That connection is one that would be made as part of this Millsap and College improvements, and that's actually at City Council right now for authorization to proceed with federal aid request. I believe we will be able to get federal aid funding for this connection plus the Millsap and College intersection. So it really kind of completes the network, because Seine Street right now, if you're coming up here from the east, and I can actually zoom out a little bit just in case. Give that a second. Just so everybody can see the overall picture. So this is Joyce all the way up here. This is Vantage Drive, and then it turns into Seine Street at this point. So this is the part that's under construction. So this route will be complete here within the next few months. But if you're wanting to avoid the College Avenue Joyce intersection, you turn left here. You really don't get very far at this point. So if you come up to Front Street to try to get on the Millsap, this intersection doesn't work very well. So having this back leg here and this connection over to Millsap is important to really be able to complete this alternate route. So again, we're gonna pursue federal aid funding. We'll be making that request this summer. That would be for 2023 funding, and depending on what we get, we'll be able to proceed with portions of this project and complete the project over the next few years.
I think everything we've talked about with, especially with that Millsap intersection, it's going to be just a vast improvement. It's going to be messy for a while with the construction, but the added turn lanes and closing off frontage street as frontage, closing
Right.
off that street right there. So you don't have people entering right before the light or trying to enter right before the light. I think that's going to be a big improvement and make it a much safer intersection too.
Right. Yeah, and some other things that are kind of happening in the area, and I can't maybe not get it all on here, but this is the Lewis Ford complex, and as you know, that is moving out onto I-49. So we do have some folks who are looking at redeveloping this site. It's going to allow us to potentially implement some additional items that are in the 71B corridor plan. So I think there's some good opportunities to help. This is Plainview. So if you continue further south, we're making that connection, that parallel route If we can do a few more things with adjusting some signals and some other things here on College Avenue as part of this redevelopment, hopefully we can really help, because this section between Millsap and Rolling Hills is probably our most congested section of College Avenue.
Yeah.
And it really has seen an increase in traffic accidents and other issues over the past few years. So we do need to really work on that section. And I think this combination of things we talked about tonight will help.
So do we ever have any, I mean, are we ever going to have any possibility of a back connection off of Plainview to Whole Foods, that shopping area?
Yeah, there are some concepts. Again, in the 71B corridor plan, there are some opportunities, and it may be a little hard to see, but so this is the Lewis Ford building here. There's a cross connection right here that comes into that comes south out of Whole Foods into this area. So if we can complete that cross connection, that would allow people to get out this way.
Okay.
So that's an opportunity, but we've also, the plan shows moving the signal here at Masonic to the south and putting a new signal at this location instead of at Masonic. So that would create a little bit different configuration as well. So still a lot of things to be worked out with that development as far as what we might be able to do. But yes, there definitely are some opportunities to create some more connections there into that shopping center.
Okay, thank you.
I think that may have hit all the streets. Were there any others that I sent?
Well, I mean, this is not in Ward 3, but a real important intersection is, we're going to have improvements on to MLK and 49. That's going to be that's not Ward 3, but that's going to be coming along too pretty soon, I think.
Yeah. Well, first the Weddington interchange is under construction. It's been paused for a while because of some utility conflicts, but significant improvement there. And then the MLK interchange is one that RDOT is looking at, and we've had about 3 different concepts. I think they're actually looking at a 4th concept now that they want to bring forward and talk about. But probably, well, they had that scheduled and then they changed it. So hopefully within the next few months, we'll see that concept. That's probably a 2024 project. But yeah, that intersection really all the way on MLK from the Walmart out there at 1 Mile Road all the way into School Avenue. There's a lot of congestion there, especially around the university and all of that. So definitely some additional improvements needed there.
That's a pretty miserable driving experience during rush hour.
It is.
On the Weddington over I-49, will they have to shut that down at some point to finish or limit, or what disruption can people expect there?
Yeah, they've got it staged so that there should be 4 lanes of travel at all times. So they're going to kind of build the bridge will end up being much wider than the existing bridge. So if I remember right, I think they're planning to build on either side of the existing bridge, build 2 lanes, and then tear out the old bridge and make the connection between the 2 pieces. So it'll be staged and traffic will move around, but the intent is to keep the same number of lanes and keep everything moving the same as it is now. Obviously, that's easier said than done, and will not be as smooth as what it sounds. So, you know, what we've seen, and I live out off of Mount Comfort Road. We see a line of traffic every morning, people coming up Rupel Road to come to Mount Comfort to avoid, I think, probably both Weddington and MLK interchanges. So we're starting to see some of that traffic spill over, which has an impact on our city streets as well. So we
Right.
definitely want to see those interchanges improved as quickly as we can.
Okay, Sarah, is there anything else before we go back to Zion?
I can't think of anything. If anybody, we're going to talk, I guess we're going to talk a little bit about Zion, and if anybody has any questions at the end, if they raise their hand, we can call on you. So.
Yeah, hopefully we could ask questions about projects first, and then if we have time, then just general questions that anybody may have. So yeah, let's kind of go to a 3-4 minute recap of Zion, Chris.
Okay, sure. So the Zion Road project is obviously, I know it's generated a lot of interest and a lot of consternation because of all the closing and everything. Obviously there's a significant change in the grade in the both vertical and horizontal. So the curves are being flattened out and all that sort of thing. So the road had to be closed in order to do the work. We do plan on getting the road open back up from the west end of the project to Old Missouri Road by the 1st of July. That's barring any poor weather. We're hoping the weather will improve from what we've seen in the past couple of months. But so I hope to have that section open back up. East of there, we still have some significant sewer line work to do. The contractor has been working on that. They're not making a lot of progress due to the depth and the poor soil. They're losing the sides of the trench, and they have to dig that back out. So that's taking a while. But once they get that sewer in place and get it all backfilled, then really the east end of the project is just an overlay of the street. Not a lot of work to do on the curbs and everything. So that should come together fairly quickly over the next, hopefully next 3 months or so. We'll be getting close to completing the entire project.
Awesome. I guess we'll go ahead and open it up to questions for the attendees. So if you have a question, just click the button to raise your hand, and then we'll start. Like I said, hopefully the first couple questions are over projects, and then we'll open it up to more general questions if people have them. And maybe we did such an awesome job, nobody has questions. Okay, seeing no rush, I guess if any question you have. Okay, Mark, I think you can talk.
Hey, Sloan, how you doing?
I'm pretty good, and you?
Doing well. Hey, I just wanted to ask, do you have any idea or line of sight to when they might start the housing developments at the end of Rolling Hills, close to Butterfield? Is that still on the docket?
Yeah, I really don't know. I guess that'd probably be a question for Jonathan Kerr. And then I will write it down and ask, and then I can see several of the attendees in the email the ones. I know development takes a while. So,
no, I don't get that. Last I heard, they were talking about something about 140 plus subdivision going back there, was the latest I'd heard. I didn't know if that was coming to fruition and anytime soon, or when to expect that to roll out.
Hey,
Yeah.
Chris, I
Yeah.
don't think this is in your wheelhouse really, but has it started through planning yet
Yeah,
or?
so the first phase of the project has gone through planning commission, has been approved. It's about 200 feet or so of rolling hills extended to the east, and then a street that runs parallel to Old Missouri, um, and just to get kind of the first row of housing. I've got the drawing here. Let me see if I can
And I believe the
figure out
first
what to
row is pretty
use.
dense, and then it's gonna be less
Right.
dense as you go in, because I think the land makes a little more sense to be dense at the street where it's, it just works better before it gets very unlevel.
Right. Yeah, there are I'm trying to see here. So that's the zoning. Yeah, I'm trying to see here where the how many units there are. But we haven't seen an overall plan for exactly what they intend to do. We've really only seen this first phase. Um,
And legally, we don't have to see all of it.
right.
I mean,
Right. Yeah. It was just the first phase, but the zoning that they've got, I think could be up to that number of units that was referenced.
So
So
what they are building or what they are requesting to build and going through the process to possibly build is what they are allowed by right, by the zoning.
right. Yeah. Yeah. It's all approved with the zoning. So
Okay.
there was a large scale development that went through planning commission recently, and that was again the first phase. So the way development works, there's an entitlement process, so large scale development, or there are some other processes, but in this case, a large scale development. So the planning commission approves the concept. Then there's the next step is for us to in engineering to get the detailed plans and review. We review the grading, the streets, all of the infrastructure, make sure it meets our requirements, and then we'll issue a grading permit so they can start the construction of that. At the same time, or depending on exactly how they want to phase their work, there's also the building permit process. So they submit all the plans and everything for the buildings that they're going to construct, and then we review that. So there's kind of an entitlement and a planning process, and then there's this construction review and permitting, and that again can take several months to get through that process before they actually start construction. And that's the first
Okay.
phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Just good to know. Everyone and their mother wants new construction out in East Fayetteville right now. So I just thought I'd ask because there's several people looking to come out here.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
real
everybody
quick,
wants a place to live.
they
Well,
don't
that
want new
too.
Want it to
construction.
magically appear and not be
Yeah.
constructed.
Yeah. So Chris, one of the things like once, if they're building what is allowed by the zoning by right, it does not come back through the city council. Is that correct?
That typically that's correct, unless there
Okay.
is an appeal or something like that. That it's all through the planning commission
Right.
or
So,
administrative approval.
yeah. Okay. All right.
And I had one more question while I have you guys.
Okay.
And this may be something for Parks and Rec, but my kids are asking all the time when the next phase of Gully Park master plan does come. Specifically, they wanted about the splash pad. I told them I'd ask if I was on the call.
We just had
Yeah, I feel like we just talked about that, and
an update on that, but I didn't ask about the splash. We had an update last night. And I did not ask about the splash pad. I'm
I think
sorry.
people were concerned about the dog park.
Yeah, I was asking about the dog park instead. I know that splash. Do you know anything about the splash pad, Chris?
No,
Well, I don't have anything specific, but I do know that we've been working with parks on because that's some of that work is within floodplain. So we've been working on some flood studies. I think it's close though, because they had the plans pretty much all done. I think they were going to bid that pretty soon, but definitely Ted Jack or Allison Jumper could give a better answer than that. So,
Yeah, I think there's a lot more public support for the splash pad than the dog park. The people want the dog park, really want it, and then the people that don't really don't want it. So that one's kind of actually contentious. So, Mark, was that your last question?
That was it. I appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate you. Any other questions? Man, no gotcha questions or anything?
Any questions about anything? No? Okay.
Oh, Chris, you did an excellent job. Left them speechless.
well, I hope
Well,
I provided a lot of information. I'm always happy to answer questions. If somebody has anything later, just let me know, pass it on.
Yeah,
Okay, I really appreciate it, Chris.
I
You
do
bet.
too, and I'm glad we had all these people attend, because sometimes we haven't had more than one or two people attend a
Yeah.
meeting, so that's good too.
It was a
Mhm.
good
Yeah,
number, and I really appreciate the questions beforehand. So thanks for the attendees and the questions. I guess I'll give about 15 seconds, see if there's any last minute rush to the door questions, and call it a day. And then I'll probably go to Goldie Park.
Is tonight the concert?
I think it's next Thursday.
Okay.
On the Thursdays, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay.
It's nice. I can walk to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll call it adjourned. I really appreciate it, everyone.